Hi guys, welcome back to the Stage Performance Podcast. Hi guys, welcome back to the Stage Performance Podcast. This week I interviewed Greg Summers and it was such a fantastic conversation. The guy is so smart. He's done so many things like presenting, DJing. He's a massive part of Band and Fitness, and I got to spoke to him about all these things. But one of my favourite things that we talked about was the art of communication. And Greg, in this interview, tells us the top 10 pieces of communication advice that he'd like to give to people and businesses alike. Thank you. Greg, thanks so much for coming today.
It's a pleasure. It's wonderful to see you again. It's great to be in the company of such vibrant youth. So it's thank you for having me.
Do you know, there's certain interviews that I'll do where I know, like, it's usually one of like 2 or 3 things. One, it's either just a chat, you know, it's going to be like you get to know someone. Another, you maybe find out someone's life story. And then this is probably my most favourite type, where you know you're going to come out learning a lot of information. Because you're one of the wisest people, and I just have to say this. Like, yeah, but also one of the most humble. Right, and this is something I feel like I need to say at the beginning so I know that people are going to hear it. Like, I didn't even know that you did all the stuff that you do. I always thought that you were I always thought you were a boxer. I always thought that was your thing. But like, up until...
A boxer. Like, I'm the gentlest, softest person on the planet. I couldn't hit, but yeah, I can understand why you thought I was a boxer.
And then, like, just as events went on and I seen you, like, DJ and I seen you presenting, I thought, this guy is just insane, all the stuff that he does. So I thought, I need to get him on here.
It's a good description. I'd go insane. Insanity is a good place to start.
But it's funny, isn't it? Because insanity and mental, like, you say those words and it can mean good and bad. You can say, oh, that's insane, or that is insane, you know?
I know. And that's a lot of things are perceived a lot of the time by how we say them, aren't we?
Yeah,
that's insane. You know, insane's a good word. And I'm happy with insane.
It's also one of the reasons why I hate texting. Like, see, if you phone someone or you leave a voice note, they can pick up on tone.
100%.
Whereas if you text someone, that's mental. They might overthink that and think he hates me.
I know. And I think that's, you know, we're going to talk about communication today, but that's a tone and the kind of flavour of how you deliver things is really important. So I like you, I try and send a lot of voice messages or call the person.
You get so much more out of a call.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
And I think, like, you don't even have to be a proper extrovert for that. Like, I think it's just about wanting to know someone on a deeper level.
Yep.
That might sound a bit weird to say, but like, I think it's definitely, when you have that kind of golden retriever energy, I think you go further in life because you have that, I want to know more, I want to talk to more people, you know.
I'm going to shine a light on that today.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Before we get into I just want to know a little bit more about, like, when did you actually start presenting? Like, do you remember when it all started?
It's about 2010, so I DJ'd for many years, was a DJ and a party DJ. I wasn't like a kind of Ewan McVicker type DJ. I was just like, you know, Black Eyed Peas, ABBA, let's have a party on the mic, causing trouble and winding people up senseless in a really playful, fun way, which always became really popular. And I didn't know that most DJs of the time, and I think this is applicable today, I didn't know that a lot of DJs didn't talk. So it was the biggest part of my whole show, was just my connection with the audience and having a laugh.
And that's like something, that is a skill, that's a whole separate skill. Yeah. And it's someone that I feel as if has just kind of started getting semi-proficient at the talking part. That can take years, and it's completely separate training.
If you are an entertainer and you're watching this, I could not encourage you more to start stepping into connecting with your audience and ask them questions, remember the fine detail, have fun, shine a big, beautiful light on them. Because I've, for 25 years, worked with bands, entertainers, comedians, and the golden ones are the ones that connect with the audience. That you can get some brilliant performers that perform, and part of the value is just watching them perform. But for me, the ones that excel are the ones that really connect with John and Mary in the front row, or Tam and Sarah at the back.
And I think there's a goodwill about it as well.
Of course
because there's 2 types of DJs. it's not just DJs, but like kind of like frontmen, if you will, like presenters, anything. There's two types of people when they talk. There's the type of person that just slags people off in the audience, and I think that can be quite high risk.
You need to be very clever using those tactics,
and then there's
can
other
backfire
people
spectacularly.
Yeah, but I think, see, if you do something like that, you always end on a compliment or like give them a round of applause, like that took a lot of guts or something like that. Do you know, like, I think if you have fun with them and like you make goodwill jokes and just comment on maybe funny things in the room, that's okay. But like when you see people just actively slating someone, you're like, okay.
But to answer your first question, which was when did I start presenting it? Around about 2010, I used to do all the entertainment and DJing in at the Hilton in Glasgow.
Cool.
And they were having a big charity ball called the Hilton Foundation Ball, and the presenter on the night couldn't make it. And the organiser asked me to step up, take the mic and do it. And I just thought, I can do this and get 4 times the fee of a DJ. So I immediately thought, much as I enjoyed the DJing, I thought I'm going to focus on being a presenter. And that led me to doing stuff on radio, TV, and then hosting events like the Kilt Walk, which is a big event in Scotland.
That's very cool. It's cool that you've got such a large amount of experience in that thing. And just before we get into some of the best advice I'm going to hear.
We need to tell people how we met as well, because I want to give a shout out to the place in which we met.
Of course.
As well.
So we actually met at Bannon Fitness,
which
and
is
why, and it is the best boxer size.
It is the best fitness club on this planet.
It is
run by an absolute legend called Pat Bannon, who has created something incredibly special in Coatbridge. So if you don't know anything about them, Pat Bannon Fitness, Coatbridge, the guy is an angel. He is a legend. He is a light in the dark. He is an inspiration. He is a man in a million. And if you want to learn about great communication and get into your audience, go and meet Pat.
And I think that's not only one of the best things about you, but just about that whole community in general. Yes, the fitness training is brilliant, but the community is excellent as well. You see a lot of fitness people that are, quite hard exterior and quite gatekeepers.
I'll tell you something. If you want a lesson on how to become a better person, go to Bannon Fitness. Go and learn about what Pat has given to his community, how he served, how he runs fitness classes, which are 50p for kids, £2 for adults. And I mean, everyone is welcome. You'll know yourself. I've been in classes where there's like 4-year-old kids and grannies, but it works.
It does.
And what he does is he creates community because of one word, love. He loves, man. He loves with the biggest, most incredible heart, and he's a hero.
Yeah.
What a man.
And so do you. All those qualities of it. And do you know what? It reminds me of a funny story, and this is how I found out you were a DJ. It was the night, I think it was a Christmas party night like 2 years ago.
Right.
And I seen it advertised. Obviously, it was a joke, but I thought it was legit serious.
DJ from Ibiza?
It said the DJ in Ibiza. And I was like, oh, right, they're really going out. And then I think that I could do quite an early time that day because I was booked for the rest of the night. And I was like, we didn't know that each other was each
I know.
other.
Do you know what was funny about that, Matt, is that I gave up DJing 15 years ago.
Really?
But Pat learned that I was a DJ, so he's got the most incredible influence just to get you to do things for him. So as soon as he learned I was a DJ, I was like, Pat, I gave it up 15 years ago. But you can come and you can do it for the club. Do it for the club. And I was like, Pat, I'll do it for the club. So the only DJing that I ever do is Pat's parties, but they just turn out to be incredible. So that's you turned up.
It would have been really funny if this whole time you were actually a DJ from Ibiza and everything else was just a side hustle.
Well, do you know what you can learn from that? And I'm not saying to people that in your marketing lie, but people believe what you tell them.
Yeah.
They really do, and you need to be careful with that. But you believed that I was some DJ from Ibiza, and then when you turned up at St Augustine's Hall in Coatbridge with your saxophone, it was me. So
I also think it's a testament to like anything you say with confidence. People believe, and that kind of goes back to the whole communication thing. So, okay, right. So I'm really excited for this. So,
cool.
As a recognised communications expert, I am dying to know what are the top 10 pieces of advice that you would give to people to improve both their personal and business life?
That's a great question. So there are many, many things that you can learn and that I can share, but I firmly believe that quality communication is the most important aspect of your humanity. Because if you are not, there's things that could go along with that, but your authenticity and the love that you have. But unless you're communicating you and your message authentically and well, then either socially, personally, or professionally, you're going to have challenges. So I want to spend the rest of the time I have on this planet just sharing what I've learned, sharing what I know, and hopefully giving people the opportunity to connect with me to improve their ability to communicate to an audience.
Yeah.
And a lot of my experience is vocal and verbal and visual communication, the person on the stage or the guy that helps businesses sell more or helps heads of business speak better on stage. So when we had spoke about this podcast, you said, what could we talk about? And I thought it'd be good for me to share maybe 10 points.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I would encourage anyone to consider, number 10, when they are thinking about their communication, we need to practice and prepare. We need to practice. Now, a lot of what you do that will make this successful will be the amount of preparation you put into it, the questions that you're considering, the time that you get here, the knowledge that you have of the guests. And then we need to think about preparing great questions.
Yeah.
So I would encourage people, if they want to improve their communication, you need to start communicating more. And crucially, you need to enjoy it. A lot of people are afraid of these spaces and these moments, but I would encourage people just to consider speaking more. So if you are in business, take more opportunity to speak in public. The amount of times that I go to an event and I speak and I share what I know, the amount of times people approach me and before you know it, I've got clients. If people in business could only understand, and many people do, but if they could really understand the value of standing up in front of an audience and not saying, here's what you need to do, here's the knowledge that I have that's really helpful.
Right.
So the reason I'm here today is to share some stuff that I know that hopefully will be helpful for you and the audience that are watching. So number 10 would be practice your public speaking, practice your knowledge share, and prepare how you're going to do that. So think about the words you're going to do. One of the most powerful things we can do, I think, in life is ask great questions.
Yeah.
Is just ask great questions. So number 10, practice and prepare thinking about your communication delivery like a demon.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, see, that can come into, like, in a music sense as well. So a lot of people think that, improvisation on a saxophone or just playing an instrument is all off the cuff, and that can be true, but I think some of the best things that you'll do is see if you actively listen to a song and there's a solo coming up and you actually practice and structure that solo, you're going to have a much better solo than what you will if you just kind of off the top of your head.
What if you were, before that solo was starting, you said to the audience, I'm going to share a song with you right now that is absolutely incredible, right? I love it. I know that you're going to love it. There's a particular point in that song where something's going to drop and I'm going to hit and I'm going to feed you something that's going to lift your heart to the point where you are going to be frothing at the mouth with excitement and you're going to love it. And it's at this point in the song we're going to do it. So the point I'm making is, now I'm not saying that you do that.
I might try it.
But sometimes, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to practice and prepare moments like that, but you feed information to audiences where it either lands or it doesn't. But at least you're practicing the connection, the engagement, the fun. So I would encourage people to have fun, be creative with how you talk to people and start thinking about sharing great stuff with them. So I hope that little bit is helpful.
That's a great point for the top number 10.
Practice and prepare.
Yeah. So, like, when you're doing this list, are you ranking it in terms of, like, most important? Not that
well,
there's
I don't know. I mean, these I've probably got about 150. These are just 10 that I really thought about sharing. Well, because what I want to do is I don't want to just come along and say, here's Greg, I've done this, I've done that, I'm magic. I want to say, here's what I've learned. If you're watching, listen, think about implementing it. Because what I do when I speak to audiences is I'll say, listen, have that wee bit of gold. And they go, that sounds great, that sounds magic. And I say, listen, implement it, practice it, start putting it into your either those social situations, professional situations, or entertainment situations. practice it and you'll get value from it. So it's just 10. But I suppose maybe number 1 is a good one.
Yeah.
So
No,
you want
that's
number
good.
9?
I would love number 9, yeah.
So if you are in front of an audience, irrespective of whether or not it's your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your mother, your father, your audience that you are saxophoning to, whether or not it is whoever it happens to be that's in your life, see, when we consider their perception of everyone that is in our lives, whether it's an audience at a gig or whether it's a family member or whether it's a relationship, has one thing in their head all the time. And see, when you understand that they have that in their head, you can give them it.
Right.
And the thing is, what's in it for me? So your audience, when you're on the saxophone, are all sitting there thinking, right, what's in it for me? Is he going to make me laugh? Is the quality of his music going to be really good? Am I going to dance? Is he going to sound different and be slightly more unique than other people I've seen on the saxophone? So if we know that they've got all those questions, then we can even have a conversation with them about it, or we can just deliver. But when you know what an audience wants, anyone, and they're all asking, what's in it for me? So what's in it for you today? I
to
need
be
to
inspired,
think,
yeah.
right, so I want to understand, you're sitting there saying, right, what's in it for me? What's in it for my audience? So if I just come and say, I'm Greg Summers, I'm Magic, and people say, I'm not really keen on him. But if I say, I want to give you stuff free. So I'm always conscious of my audience saying, right, well, Greg, what's in it for me?
Would you say that happens at a subconscious level?
It can, but when you think about it deeper, you can deliver more value. Because there are a lot of things that I'll share that are just, I think, subconsciously you're aware of. But when you actually become super aware of it, you can start really, shaping your connection with people by understanding they're not really interested in me, right? But they are interested in what I can do for them. So if I'm really focused on what I can do for them and understand what they want, then you give them it and people are dead happy. So what's in it for me?
Yeah, it's a deep point because, like, at a surface level, like, without going into more depth, like, it can feel somewhat transactional with every human if everyone has a
That's
mind.
deep, Matt.
Yeah, well, do you not think so? Like,
I know what you mean.
yeah, and I think there's a conscious of, like, and one of the things that I really liked about what you said in the Scottish Business Conference in 2025, which was a really, really cool speech, was the idea of praising community. And, like, there's a niceness to being praised, but you want to be one of the people that go out and praise.
Yeah.
And I think, as much as I think from an audience and an entertainment perspective, that's 100% correct what you said. And I think anyone that's communicating, that's very, very helpful advice. I think if we make an active attempt to say to people, that was really good,
I haven't even put it in the top 10, Matt, but it's a huge...
It's something that I think means a lot to me when I heard you say it, because I think so many people are very self-conscious and very sort of,
Well, watch this, right? I
Okay.
mean this sincerely.
Yeah.
You're a young man who is incredibly talented, right?
you.
I'm not just saying this. The reason I'll back that up by evidence, right? Because about 3 years ago, I watched you in Sucky Hall Street with another musician, not Sucky Hall Street, sorry, Buchanan Street,
yeah.
right, outside the underground. And you didn't know I was watching. But I watched you in such a relaxed manner, right, in front of a crowd of people, be very cool. And you were very cool because the standard of your music was absolutely excellent, and you had chose an accompanying musician that you just knew created something magical. And you knew, wearing your shades, that you exuded a funky, cool, relaxed, unthreatening, modest, subtle vibe that was very powerful. And I witnessed that, right? How do you feel right now?
I don't know.
Right, 'cause it's a bit overwhelming, right? 'Cause you're not used to it. So I've laid it on thick, but what I have done there as well, right, is I've meant every single word of what I said.
That was
100%.
Wow.
Now, when you can articulate truly what people do to you, it's an incredibly powerful thing to deliver. And the reason that praise is so important is it has this moment of effect when you see it.
Yeah.
Now, what praise also does, if it's delivered honestly, it allows you to think even stronger of me. because you understand what I've recognised in you. And that isn't transactional. But what it crucially needs to be, Matt, is honest. Because if you're not honest with your praise, now what you're doing there when you're studying what I've said is you actually remember what you were wearing on the day, and you understand that I remember you had shades. Right?
That's amazing.
Right? And I'm going to go on to this in more detail.
Yeah.
See, when you have memory and you praise people and you remember the fine detail, they're like, my God.
Mm-hmm. But there's also something about it, I don't know if endorphin is the right word, but like there's a feeling of like almost spiritual satisfaction you get, and I think it's above mere transaction.
Yep.
It's a sense of, like say
when it's truthful.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
it's like it inspires you. There's something inspiring about it that thinks,
So if it's done honestly,
yeah,
if it's done with memory and it's done consistently, and you remember the fine details, it can be incredibly powerful. And as an older man, there's a big responsibility on me to understand it and deliver it.
Yeah.
Because when people hear it, it's wonderful.
That's
Pat does it to me
amazing.
all the time, right? And I knew it kind of before I met Pat, but he cements it when I meet him because he's a very, very good friend. And he praises people like you wouldn't believe. And you see the impact that it has on them. Praise, even though it's not in this top 10, is absolutely massive.
Yeah. I thought you're so smart.
No, it's
You're
not.
so
It's,
smart.
listen, maybe it's just a wee bit of age, Matt. It's not. It's just learning what you've experienced. So that was number 9, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Number 8 is energy.
Right, okay.
Just the energy that you exude when you are... Now, I think that's... Everyone's got the same level of... So you're quite relaxed. You've got a lovely, warm, relaxed energy.
Thank you.
Right? I've got an energy whereby it's quite upbeat and it's quite... But within that energy and understanding your energy, I think it's really important to understand that at the basis of your energy, how's it impacting your audience, and crucially, how you make your audience feel. And when you really understand that your audience in the way that we shared that moment of praise, if you have energy that allows you to make your audience feel good, then exercise it, amplify it, grow with it. And a lot of the way we make our audiences feel good is by the share of vocally honest, wholesome, fun moments with them, talking to them, recognising their shoes or their hair or the way that they walk and how it looks quite groovy. And the thing, as you're looking at an audience, so if you are an entertainer, presenter or host and you've got your audience in front of them, celebrate who they are, recognise the great things, share great energy with them, compliment them, be aware of the fact that they've done their hair in a particular style or they've got a particular pendant on that was probably given to them by their granny and it means the world to them. Ask them where they got it from. Your energy and your ability to share your energy and make people feel good, even better than good, great, is a superpower.
Yeah, it's a superpower that you have.
But you've got
Superman
it too.
level. Well, do you know what?
Right.
I think like our energies are different, like you said. And I think one of the things I was kind of saying, I think just before the cameras were on, like one of the things I feel like I had to really fight through, and I'd say I've only in the last year or so kind of got to a proficient level, is like just nerves. And see with the shades, as much as like you said some lovely things about it, a massive reason why I wore it was to hide nerves.
Aye.
So like, see when...
But it makes you look quite cool.
It does, right? That you get the best of both worlds,
Right.
right? But as the years have went on, I've actually needed them less and less.
Right, I'll tell you something about that
Okay,
moment,
yeah.
and this is interesting about how you've got to remember the fine detail. You weren't wearing them over your eyes. You were wearing them lodged on your head.
What?
Yep. But that's the detail. See, when it comes to people that are in your life, you've got to remember that level of detail.
Yeah.
Because it makes this moment happen. So your confidence that day, because you looked super groovy. You were standing there, I think you were actually wearing grey denims and an open neck. It was quite summery. You were wearing an open neck shirt. Your shades were on your thingy. Your saxophone was just hanging there a lot of the time because your man on the guitar was just doing a lot of lead and you were just like that. You couldn't see me watching you, but I watched it from afar. So it's another interesting thing. You're saying you're nervous, but I'm from afar looking at this incredibly confident, relaxed young man.
Well, this would be really, at the risk of taking a slight tangent, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, okay? So there's things that you do which may be in alignment with your temperament, and there's things that you do that may be in alignment with your skill set. And it felt as if when I started the Ibiza sax thing, I'm like the least party person ever, right? I really am
Me
not
too.
good at it,
My bed for
right?
9
Well,
o'clock.
yeah. Well, they said that. I watched a video on it recently, and it was like, why truly sociable people hate parties. Like,
Yeah.
truly social people, it's vulnerability and deep
Yeah.
conversation, right? That is why we get on, right? Because we like this stuff. We like this kind of why attitude. But when you go to a lot of parties, it's very, yay, shots on me, you know, I love this tune. It's all very superficial conversations. And I think that's why I dislike it so much, because there's no depth. But one of the things like that you can feel when you're starting out is nerves, just not liking parties, maybe being a bit of an introvert, but it's in alignment with my skill set.
Yeah.
And I feel like that trumps the you can teach yourself to align temperamentally in a place. You can feed off the energy in a room, but a skill set isn't something you can just pick up in a day. Like, you can fake confidence, not even fake it, but you can align with confidence. I think that's how I prefer to say it. Because I think if everyone in a room is standing on tables and shit, you're probably going to do that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of the things I found.
I just can't imagine me doing that at 53 now, Matt. I'd be like,
No, but maybe as an
it's
entertainer.
9:30, I need to go up and
No, you might not do it as a guest, but as an entertainer, I'm sure there's been moments where you've been
I
like,
would
everyone,
still do it.
you know.
Of course, I would still do that if the moment needed it. I would absolutely. I do it all the time at the Kilt Walk, where I'm not down in shots or anything, but I'm that big energy character. And you're right. There's a moment where you come away from that, and I don't want to do that. I want to be quiet and chilled and get out my bike, go up the hills.
But I think it's amazing how more satisfied you can be in kind of conversations like these than big parties and stuff, or just nights out at the pub like these. This is what life is about: having meaningful conversation, deep and.
But it is. But you got to remember, you're in an industry where there's a massive requirement for you to deliver a particular atmosphere, and that's what life's about as well. Because life is about celebration. Life is about fun. Life is about laughter. Life is about dance. Life is about being vulnerable in front of people and having fun. So there is a time and a moment for this, and it's powerful and it's brilliant and it's great. You're also in an industry whereby you need to, just by the nature of it, be up for a party.
Yeah, totally.
And you are. Just keep those shades on.
Yeah, indeed. But I think that's...
What was the question?
It was just more about energy. That's what I was kind of saying. Like,
just who you are right now, Matt, at the age of 26. Now, in 20 years from now, 46, you're going to be a very different man. You're going to be a better man. You're going to be a wiser man. Because you've got it in your heart. You can see it. It's screaming out of you. You're going to do great things. But your ability as a man and as a performer and as a father, when it happens, it'll all dramatically change, and it'll be really enjoyable. But at the basis of it, your energy is great. You can amplify it and take it. You'll find your own way with it as well, because I can't be you and you can't be me. You can be a bigger, more colourful version of you on that saxophone that is determined by Matt, not by anyone else. And that'll be really interesting for you.
We'll see, but that's part of the fun of the story, isn't it? You
is.
just have to enjoy the character, and like, you're never who you are.
And maybe that's it. Maybe you could even just create a mad character.
I think that's kind of what I've done. That's been the coping mechanism. Be like, okay, that's Matthew Ruddy music. I'm not really changing my name or anything, but I'm like, if I'm in the Smithy or that, and like all the tables are jumping and stuff, I'm like, okay, I'll pretend. Do you know how I've got
and
my
the
TED?
Smithy? What's the Smithy?
It's in Cumbernauld.
All right,
it's
I thought you meant the Smithy in the south side of Glasgow.
No. Do you know what I imagine myself almost like? Do you know Tony Stark? Like, I think of myself as someone. Iron Man.
All right,
yeah.
You are Tony Stark.
In that moment,
Why don't you get the outfit?
I would love that. I would love that.
Honestly,
I don't know how practical it would be.
I was saying this to my son recently. I think there's a big space for people to create more characters.
Yeah.
I don't see enough Borats and Ali G's and that kind of stuff happening. So.
Do you know one of the things I miss most about superheroes, right? I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but you see a lot of characters now, they don't have masks or costumes anymore. I used to love that, when they had a cool helmet.
See their face.
Yeah, well, there was that, but there was just something cool about having it wasn't the secret identity, it's just the mask looked cool, like Iron Man.
I grew up with some incredible superheroes, like Batfink and Hong Kong Fooey.
What?
Oh, these just people of an older vintage will know who they were. But they were quite cool as well. Hong Kong Fooey, if you don't know him, check him out. Pepe Le Pew as well. He wasn't really a superhero, but he was an incredibly romantic French cat.
Right.
Cartoon.
Cool.
Anyway, check him out. Hong Kong Fooey, Pepe Le Pew. If you want to up your romance in this world, check out Pepe Le Pew. What an inspiration.
That is fair, yeah. Cool.
Anyway, shall I give you the next point?
I'd love to hear the next point.
Okay, so when it comes to great communication, I would always be conscious of. I was at an event about a year and a half ago, and this guy shared a great word called vakapapa. And it's a Maori word which means plant trees that you'll never see.
Right.
And the message within communication there is be aware of the things you're saying today that are going to influence tomorrow. Right? So we have been conscious of getting on with each other and being fond of each other so that when this moment arises, you've got me in mind to come on as a guest. And I think when you're really conscious that everyone that comes into your life, you can, provided it's all positive and it goes the way that you both want it to go, do the things in your conversation that's going to make it grow.
Yeah. And again, like, would you say that happens subconsciously when you enter into any process with goodwill?
Goodwill and honesty and where you're going with it uniquely is really, really important. And yeah, I think just being aware of what you're saying today and how it impacts tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, because I think I could be wrong with this, but I think it's quite youthful that everything's quite momentary about what you're getting in the moment and what your experience in the moment is. And when you actually see that there's people around you, I deal with a lot of people in business who are massive on relationship growth together. And that if you have a good connection and a good service with each other, it's not just about what you're doing just now, it's about where you're going to grow together. And I think that exists with your communication as well. Be really conscious of the great things that you can say today to build tomorrow.
That's very interesting, the point about the youth, because I think they come into one of three categories. The middle one is what I think most people kind of fall into, is like just live in the moment, take each day as it comes. I've always been very anti that mindset. I think a lot of people waste years of their life. You have another group of people that just live in the past. That can manifest itself in two ways. Either it can be people dwelling on mistakes that they've made, or just saying, oh, I was cool back then. Like, so it's kind of like a duality of two different mindsets, but like you're living in the past, like high school, you've peaked kind of thing, or, you know.
It's mad, isn't it? High school, you peaked.
Yeah. And then there's the other group of people which I feel as if I kind of obsessed over, which was the future. You don't live in the moment at all, and every day is for the future. But the downside to that, well, the positive to it is that you're overwhelmingly productive for a period of time, but you're going to hit burnout, you're not going to enjoy anything, and when you get the goal, it doesn't mean anything. And it's actually probably the most dangerous to fall into, because you're not living life and then you just waste it. Like,
I think it's healthy to have a conscious amount of time within each space. I think you've got to be aware of what happened in the past to allow you to understand how you shape your future and make amends from things that might have went wrong. It's really important to enjoy where you're at in the moment. So enjoy this moment. I'm loving this moment.
Yeah, same.
I'm loving the studio. I'm loving having met Cooper the dog and seeing that the studio's toilets have Sauvage aftershave that I should have had this. But I'm loving the moment of this. But I'm really conscious about where this is going and what I share moving forward in the years ahead. So I think you need to have a healthy dance in each of those spaces.
yeah, I feel like every day you kind of go between all of them. You think of the past, you think, you're doing day to day, and you think, what would I like to do? You know, you each day you go between all of them.
I think by the nature of what I would consider, I would say spend 20% of your time in the past, spend 40% of your time in the moment, and 40% of your time in the future.
Wow.
Maybe that might be a way of
I like
considering
that,
it.
yeah.
You
I
know,
like that, yeah.
because the present and the future's arguably a lot more important than the past. And it's hard to determine that, but I think there are just people who are made up a particular way, and no amount of saying, do this, is going to make them do that.
I also think a lot of people are stubborn. If you say to them, do it, they just won't, out of spite.
Aye. And people have got to learn themselves, haven't they? I think what you can do, and Pat Bannon would fall into this category as well, you can be a really good role model for people to watch your behaviour, because people, I think, learn from watching people's behaviour rather than being told what to do. So when I watch Pat and I see how much he gives to his community in the gym, I'm inspired to live a life whereby I want to serve others and help others, and rather than saying, this is what you should do, I want people to see by my actions that that's the right thing to do, rather than...
It kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's like the difference between inspired by and transactional.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you see like, you can see this in a lot of jobs as well as a business. Like there's people that do jobs they don't like, the boss they don't like, the transaction is money, there's no loyalty, you know. Whereas when you're inspired to do things, you know, you'll just go further and everything feels better. You know?
I would also, if there's anyone watching, I would, for whatever worth this little bit of advice is worth, I would be very wary of paying money to people who are saying they are going to hugely emotionally and spiritually and psychologically improve your life. I think that's a massive space that a lot of people are making a lot of money in right now, and just be very wary, because the people I've seen help people change lives are the people who've done it for nothing. Who've done it free. I know that's right off the tangent, but...
No, it's just great.
Number 6.
Let's do it.
Don't take yourself too seriously.
That's probably quite a good point, considering everything we spoke about up to this point. Like.
It's, I think it's very, very important that I've worked with a lot of entertainers over the years that are just so super serious about them and their perception, how they deliver. And I think being willing to, in a very nice manner, make an arse of yourself and have a laugh and not be caught up in your whole how serious things are around you. I think having a bit of vulnerability and making fun of yourself is really, really important. So
I would say that the people that are the most serious tend to be the most insecure. Like, see if you can't like have a laugh with people or like laugh at yourself, and you have to be. I mean, when I was younger, part of the reason why I see this was wrong now. This is a whole different tangent. I don't want to spend that much time on, but like when I was younger, the people that went to the conservatoire that were from the town, like that were older, none of them were really nice people, and I felt as if I want to get that badge to show that you can be a good person and then do it. And like
you have done.
Well, yeah.
You have done big time.
But that's the thing, like, I just think that people think that badges and job titles and just anything, what house you live in, makes them, you know, I don't know, just...
At the end of the day, nobody cares.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter.
Just do you.
Nobody cares. Right?
Yeah.
So don't take yourself too seriously. Be willing to take your hat off and realise that your hair's a real mess and you look quite daft. And be vulnerable. You know, people will see what's in your heart way more powerfully than what's, what you're.
It's amazing how unavoidable that is. Like, people can see your heart no matter how much you try and hide it.
Aye, the eyes are a great gateway to. There's a lot you can tell just from. I don't think we even as people study or think about, just witnessing. People say that a lot of the time they enjoy people watching, but what are they watching when they're people watching? What are we actually looking for? And you see, when you actually really take the time to study people's mannerisms, gestures, the way they walk, the frowns in their faces, the smile, the glint in their eye, and you become majorly conscious of it. And it's all momentary as well, because all of that stuff changes so dramatically dependent on interaction with each other. But when you actually start, I haven't really studied or thought a lot about it, but there is a glow and a vibe around people.
Yeah.
There is.
Do you ever imagine stories, very quick stories when you're watching people go by? I sometimes do that.
About where they've been, what they've been doing.
Yeah. I just imagine, I name the character and
You go back to your superhero stuff. You get quite a fantastic imagination and need to let it out more, Matt, because that's wonderful.
But you know what, right? I was not going to go here at all, right?
Just
before you make this next point. I don't know if you did this when you were younger, right? But see, when I was younger, I loved action figures.
Who's your favourite?
Star Wars characters. But I don't know if you know what a clone trooper is.
No, but my two boys, one in particular, was right into Star Wars. He had Jabba's sail barge and all this stuff. And he had Lego Star Wars, and he had everything, Boba Fett and all these.
Yeah, we'll see character. Right, okay, right. So under my bed, I've got a lot of those old toys, and I just couldn't sleep. It was 2 nights ago.
Thinking that they were all alive.
No, just
gonna come out and
no, but it was raining, and it was just
Did you get them all out? Never.
I did, yeah. And do you know what?
Nice?
I was connected to my inner child.
Aye.
It was like a dopamine that I've not felt for
Matt,
years.
listen,
Like,
that's pretty cool that you can do that, because there ain't a lot of people who can step back into their childhood and have fun with it.
I think it's because it never really left.
Do you know, I remember it. So I speak at the Kilt walk a lot and have a lot of fun with the people who are there. And I skip, right? I skip a lot. I skip when I'm on the mic in front of thousands of people.
Right,
I skip and I dance and I have fun. And often folk say to folk, when was the last time you skipped? Remember as a kid, skipping was a major part of your day. Kids skipped. Do you remember?
Yeah.
People just danced and skipped and had a laugh. And I'll sometimes say to grown-up adults, "Do you want to skip?" They'll be like, "What?" It's like the most intensely mad thing they've ever heard. So there is real value to be found in not taking yourself too seriously, acting like a kid, having fun, playing with your action figures, and skipping.
Yeah. Totally. No, I just thought like
That's a laugh at it. Number 5.
Yeah.
Remembering the fine detail in everything, and remembering people's names, remembering what I showed earlier when I told you how you looked.
I think that's amazing how you can do that. Like, it's
Right.
something I'm going to actively, after
Do it.
today, make so much more effort
When
with.
we're connecting with an audience, I can actually remember everything about how you looked on that day, because for me that's dead important if there's people in your life, because these moments happen, you can share it with them again, and people love it. I remember I was with a lady in Ayrshire who was giving a speech just before 2020. She was giving a business speech, a presentation. She always spoke about her tribe. My tribe are really important to me. Who comes into my tribe is really important. Being within that tribe, how that tribe... She must have said tribe 20 times. And about 4 years later, I was at another event and she was there. And I went up to her and I said, "Laura, listen, I was in Kilmarnock at an event you were at about 4 years ago. And I always remember what an impression you left on me by talking about the importance of your tribe." And she looked at her pal and she said, "Is he winding me up? Is he a plant? Have you told him to say that?" She said, "I don't even know." So the impact that it had on her, that I remembered something that was really important to her, and then I presented it to her when we came into contact again.
Yeah.
She was like, "Man." And what it allowed me to do was connect with her, work with her, and be introduced to her network, which meant I got her as a client, and I got about 3 of her other clients as clients, just simply because I remembered the things that were important to them. Didn't make it about me, and said, "Do you know, I remember you said that, and I was really impressed by that. It was wonderful. I remember the night you were wearing that." And it was that particular thing where she was speaking before you, he was speaking after you, and you were in it absolutely incredible because you spoke about your tribe. She was like, "What?"
That's cool. And I think that can work even in a friendship context as well. Like, people would be more likely to trust and confide in you because they know that you would like care and actually hold on accurately to events.
So every time I go into Bannon Fitness, Pat will remember something that I've done or something I was wearing or my hair's been cut, and he'll always have a nice cheeky grin about how it made him feel, because he remembers he remembers that about everyone. It's like guru level knowledge about what he remembers.
That's cool.
And I think it's really important, and when we are communicating with an audience, we always remember the fine detail, names of grannies, things that are important to them, you know. And people love that when you remember. So if I ever go and speak at an event, someone comes to me and says, "Greg, do you know, I watched you do this or do that, or you were at that event, you said this, and I remember it made me feel good." And I'll be like, wow. So when you do it to people, honestly, with memory and intent and warmth, kindness, man, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That's so cool.
So if you're ever doing a gig on your sax and you see someone where you had a particular moment with them, remember it, because you'll come across them again.
I think it actually, like, see, if you know that person, I think if your only experience with them was that moment, you're probably going to be much more likely to remember it than...
Yeah.
But then again, there have been occasions, and I always feel bad if someone comes up and says, "You did my such and such," and I've no memory. And it actually maybe shows me that, like, maybe I wasn't the best I could have been at that point, because I feel like I remember most.
You were the best. You were the best that you could be in that moment.
I suppose
but
so.
with improved knowledge and awareness of what you're doing.
I remember a lot more of the people that I actually spoke to, and it's that idea of connection.
Yeah.
Because when I was starting out, a lot of the gigs that I'd done, I was mute. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't know how
What
to
you
do all that
saying
stuff.
now?
Just, how's it going, guys? You all right? My name's Matthew. I'm going to be playing for you today. And, I do it in a much
Here's
more
what you could
upbeat
do
way.
your next one, right?
Okay, right.
I always think it's really powerful just to slow down, right? And just stop and just walk. So here's what I could see you doing that would be really funny and very enjoyable to see. The music just stops and there's pure silence and there's a couple of wee women having a wee chat and you just walk up behind them without them knowing and just put the saxophone right in between them and just and then take it out and just take the shades down and have a wee smile. Just something funny that just makes you'll have your own way of doing it, but just funny little moments that are out with the norm. So I would encourage you to think about what you're doing with your audience would think, man, that's a bit different, a bit unique, and a bit, it might work, it might land, it might. But I do a lot of that stuff. I just act quite silly and have fun.
Yeah.
Walk behind people at events and pretend that I'm scratching their head or something. Just and the table will all be looking at them, and I'm like doing all this stuff behind them, but they can't see and they're chatting away.
Yeah.
Just fun, daft, silly moments are great things to consider and share.
Very cool.
So, what number are we on?
Was it 4?
5.
5.
So, names are another thing as well. I remember I used to be terrible about just remembering people's names.
Yes.
So, when you're at events, get to know as many people by name in the audience as you can.
Would you say sometimes a helpful thing with that is like asking their name multiple times?
Aye.
Because like
A lot of time I say, listen, I asked you your name half an hour ago. I'm absolutely brutal with remembering names. Is it Kevin or is it Keith or is it Kenny? It's a bit of fun, mate. And it's not even Kevin, Keith or Kenny. It's John. And then I say, well, do you know what? John's a wonderful name, but tonight you're Keith. Come on for Keith. Then everyone calls him Keith. I sing people happy birthday when it's not their birthday. Just ridiculous nonsense. Stupid fun.
That's not a bad idea.
I tell people that it's the local mayor who's in the room and I just make up absolute nonsense.
That's
but
so
people
funny.
love it.
The local mayor.
Anything that just comes to mind. I'll sometimes I just make stuff up.
I'm going to use that.
And people love it. As long as it's not offensive. you don't swear.
Look at this.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time and people love it. And then I'll just make up things about, if I'm at the kilt walk, we'll say, it's lovely to see you again, Mary. Did you know that Mary does this? Mary's standing there like, what are you talking about? And then before you know it, you meet her at the finishing line and all her pals are talking about whatever it is you've been speaking about. Just people, it's another thing that people love. Pure nonsense. So
that's fair.
Dance in that space. And it goes back to not taking yourself too seriously. But when it comes to number 5, fine details, names, connection.
Yeah.
Get to your audience.
Totally.
Number 4, messaging. So if I say to you, Matt, what do you do? What do you do?
I would say that I'm an entertainer, musician, and now podcaster.
Right. So now you're beginning to think, what was it, Matt? What is? Now you've delivered it once. You're thinking, right? If I'm asked that again, what is it I do? What
musician, entertainer, and podcaster.
Are you a saxophonist within that musician?
Yeah.
Is it mainly saxophony?
Yes.
So what do you do?
I'm a saxophonist primarily.
Right. Beyond that, what do you do?
I'm a musician and entertainer.
So what you're saying is, Matt, you're an immensely talented musician focusing on the saxophone. You also do podcasts and what else?
That's a good question. I do piano, singing.
Right.
And
so by nature, someone saying, and there will come that point where you have to share what it is you do. What's the simplicity of the message about what you do? Right? How funky, colourful and fun is it? How much thought do you put into delivering it where you think, what are they going to think when I say that? Because I really think the importance of simple, powerful messages are really very, very powerful.
I guess that's the West of Scotland thing as well. You don't want to be seen as like a show-off. So you just kind of say...
I think there comes a point, right? I'm not saying you take the American concept, but it's but there needs to be a point where you are not self-congratulatory, but you need to let people know that you're confident in what you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you have a bit of hesitation by telling people what you do, they'll sense the hesitation. So I'm not saying fake it till you make it. Just have a clear, concise delivery of message about what you do and stand firm in saying it. Because if there's ambivalence and, kind of anticipation about your delivery, when people are delivering messages, I think it's dead important to give them with strength, power, confidence, and dead simplicity. Real simplicity.
That's very
helpful?
cool. Yeah, it's something I'm going to pay more attention to now.
Well, you're asking John if his name's Keith.
Yeah. Does it ever get to the point where you're just like, I'm just going to avoid saying the name now altogether? Like, it's past the point now where I can ask.
It just, see if you work on getting a crowd on side and having fun with it, they'll let you away with loads and loads of stuff. If you're just, and that's something to practice, but names are dead important, as are simple messages when people want to know. Today, but I don't think a lot of people have got the time to really spend loads of time discussing element because there's that many distractions. People are doing that many things.
Yeah.
I think the need for simple messages is dead simple. If that makes sense. That's all about. Don't listen to a word I say. It's all nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
I'm joking. Number 3 would just be the importance of asking people questions. So if you're at a business networking event, say nothing about yourself. You've asked a lot about me and my knowledge and all that kind of stuff, but the power of just asking great questions is off the charts.
One of my first college lectures, his name was Eddie, and he taught, what on earth was the name of the module again? That is so bad. But one of the best, I think it was a pretty generic theory class.
Yeah.
But one of the things that he said was, when you're networking, talk 80%. Sorry,
Talk 20%.
Talk
20%.
Talk 80% of the time. Listen to it. I've butchered that quote. I talk 20% of the time, listen 80% of the time.
Yeah.
It can be difficult to always fulfill that role, because then you might be asked questions and you need to give full answers.
Also, when you're coming into a situation like this where you're the guest,
yeah,
there's a kind of recognised dynamic where, as the guest, you contribute more than the interviewer. So I think in general terms, if we're looking to make connection and grow connection and be in a position where we can have positive influence, there's a real skill in just exploring the nature of the person you're with by just asking great questions. And if you're in a business setup or you're in some sort of business community, just be very wary about talking business too early. I'd spend a lot of time just asking people things that will help me build connection to them, and I think people will appreciate it. And a lot of the time as well, you can be quite reserved about, I think we need to practice in our conversation. You'd be amazed if you go into your next social setting and you have 20 dynamite questions, 8 of which might not land. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Ask them. People love talking about themselves. Where did you get your hoodie?
It was a Christmas present, actually.
Who got you?
Santa.
Santa? Do you know who beyond Santa got you? Santa is a real thing for any kids watching. Why did you choose saxophone?
Why did I choose saxophone?
Out of all the instruments, what was it? Who inspired you to...
Well, do you know what? It was piano at first.
Right.
It was
Why
piano was the one. I think it was just a beautiful instrument. I think there was something really sentimental
What's
about
your favourite, the black or the white keys?
I don't know. You need both.
You need both? Do you need
yin
both?
And yang. You need yin
What did you
yang,
think of Stevie Wonder and Paul McCartney's song, Ebony and Ivory, living together in perfect harmony?
Yeah, it's good.
Nice song?
It's a nice song.
I don't know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, I ask you 8 questions. Because I'm just focused, and it's what I work with people about. Just ask great questions all the time. Before you know it, you that moment there realize, that's interesting. Why did I choose piano? No, I could have just went down that road for ages and ages.
And I think that can actually be really helpful when you're interviewing, because you can kind of pick up in the first 5 to 10 seconds if the question's landed or not, and then you just move on to
And if a question doesn't land, just ask it again.
They're not. One of the things I was actually kind of nervous for when I was like, before I even started this, was that I was going to ask somebody, be like, "How dare you ask that?" Do you know?
Well,
it's one of the reasons why you ask in advance, kind of thing. But like, there's playroom.
I think there's space within the podcast sphere to do a podcast where it's just it's called The Truth.
The truth.
And all you ask are just the most pressing questions where they have to answer the truth.
I think you would be the man to set that podcast up.
Well, I've got an idea for a podcast, and I quite fancy the idea of a mobile podcast where you go to people, because there's a lot of doing this in there, getting people here, and it's a challenge. I think just going to people. Anyway, that's for another time.
Good. Do you know?
Great questions, Matt, is what I'd encourage.
Well, here's a question.
Go on.
It's just dawned on me. I think we said 5, then 3.
Right.
I don't think you did 4.
Did we?
No, I think
Did I not do 4?
we skipped 4, so it's 4, 1, and 2.
No, we've done 5.
Did we
4
do-
is the simple messages.
Okay, right.
3 was questions.
Right, okay, that's fine. I just didn't want a
Still
comment
with us.
section being like,
I know,
"You missed out 4."
freaking out like that. Who is that? Who is that specky guy
What's the
talking
secret
nonsense
for
with the dodgy hair?
Years from now, the legend of question 4.
I know, the legend of
All right,
question
so now
4.
we're in the top 2.
Top 2, and there are many, many more, but when we are communicating, I've just highlighted it there with questions. It's not about you. It's about them. Now, that sounds quite contradictory today because I'm the guest, and it's a lot about me sharing what I've learned, and it is a bit about me, I understand that. But when we are in those moments where it's 50-50, or whether it's friends or colleagues or potential business contacts, it's about them. Everything's about them.
So one of the things that I kind of think about that is, see, when we're talking about like, it's not about you, but then like you have people that say, "What's in it for me?" How do you balance that duality? I don't know. Like I know it's quite a deep question.
Right, it is right. So by what's in it for me is them asking it, not you saying what's in it for me. Being aware of them saying what's in it for me, right? And should you focus on... So I do a bit of networking training, right, where I go to banks and lawyers, and they've all got big issues with networking. And networking is basically these stressful events that are created for professionals to go and talk about themselves. And what I encourage people to do is go to these events and say nothing about yourself. Say nothing. And I've honestly been to so many where I don't tell anyone my name. I tell them nothing about what I do. I share very little information about me, but I ask everyone everything, and I introduce people to each other. And by doing that, by making it all about them and being helpful and introducing, you become the most interesting person in the room. Yeah. Because by nature of networking events, I want to go in with the peacock that shines. You won't be a peacock. You might be some form of peacock, and it's not peacock. But by simply making it all about you, people see it, they sniff it, they aren't responding to it, they're not respectful of it. And there's real value in just making everything about your audience.
It's quite a complex thing, like the balance between, like, this may be a bit of an extreme way of putting it, but like the selfish and selfless. Like, there's times to know when to be both, and I think that's just a pendulum that will always go.
I think by the natural order and law of this world, it will come back to you. If you give and you're very conscious of being helpful, being very understanding of your audience who are in front of your community and servicing them, the goodness naturally comes back. It certainly has for me, 100%. So I'd encourage you, if there's anyone watching, when you're with other people, make it all about them. Make it all about them. And be another great thing to do, and about that is always be positive.
Yeah.
That's a difficult one, right, isn't it? Because some people say you can't always be positive, but you can always find the positivity within something that's difficult.
One of the things I think is really interesting about that point is you can be in a room with something, like, you can tell yourself something like, "Oh, I did well today," and you're like, "Oh, really?" But if one of your close friends say you objectively did, you absorb it more. And I think if you're surrounded by, like, if you have like a couple close friends, and you're all equally just trying to do better, work on
Yeah.
your own things, you feed off of each other. And,
You do,
you know.
but here's a difficult one. This is something that we haven't even spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
Whose responsibility is it to challenge you? Because I tell you that every human being struggles with being told, Matt, you didn't do that well. So how do we create moments whereby we can actually give people constructive feedback that's helpful without the person who's receiving it becoming defensive, argumentative, or offended?
I actually think I have the answer to this.
Go on then.
Okay, so one of my lecturers in the past gave us this advice for any teacher in future, and he says it's called the constructive sandwich. And he says, here's how you do it. So the top of the sandwich, you will compliment the initial attempt, even if they didn't do very well. You say that was a good attempt, you know, for a first try, or if they objectively did do a good job. This was in the context of learning a piece of music. So it was like, okay, so your tempo was good, your notes were mostly correct, and then you would slam the bit in the middle that they didn't do well. You would say, this wasn't good, this was, you know, objectively bad. And then you would end on a positive by saying, but overall, you know, that there's progress, or if they've not made a lot, there's a potential for progress. End on something that's uplifting, because that's the part they'll remember.
Even when you have that constructive sandwich, right, even though it's delivered in that way that you can understand, you can actually think about delivering it in that manner, people still detest criticism or feedback that would be regarded as being delivered constructively. And it's a very interesting thing for human beings to be open to saying, right, well, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Of course, and it takes years. I mean,
It does.
I'd say like one of the things that I learned last year was a very what would you say?
Growthful year.
Yeah.
Aye.
But one of the things I learned to do is I always took rejection, failure personally. It was a badge to like be ashamed of, you know, like proof of inadequacy.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that it was a quote. Failure isn't proof of inadequacy. It's just that specific attempt didn't work. Doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to do well. And when you can separate that from like you as a person and just look at it as an objective attempt, it can really make things easier.
And I think, particularly in business, actually embracing and enjoying rejection is very, very powerful. Looking for the no's, celebrating the no's, understanding that in most cases, there's a good chance it will be no. And I think a lot of people are that afraid in business and life of receiving a no and delivering a no.
Yeah.
That it's, you know, this isn't happening. You know, so delivering a no, say I'm not doing that, and actually receiving a this isn't happening is a really, really difficult space for a lot of people. And I think actually enjoying getting a no, reframing it, you know, flipping it and spinning it around. Well, come on, I want to know. You know?
It can take years and years to get to that stage, though, because I think, like, if you remember your first rejection, that's something like, and the most recent rejection you got, it's night and day, isn't it? Like, you probably still remember that initial rejection of, oh, that stings, and you remember the emotional imprint it leaves. Versus
you do.
now, you're like, oh, okay.
It's a real skill to take rejection and just dust yourself down and go again.
It takes years to get, but like you say,
Have you
once
got
you do it, I think so.
Good.
I think I've separated failure. I see it as a door shutting that wasn't made for you. And I know that sounds really obvious now, but like it takes years for some people to understand things.
Yeah, it does.
You know.
And a lot of the time they've just got to be left to understand that you kind of force people to, and they've just got to
And I think it's
learn
something
it
you just have
themselves.
to experience to get it. And I think once you experience enough of it and you see the other end of it, you say, I get that now.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Number one. Shall we finish number one, then we can have a wee blether about something? What do you think number one is when it comes to your interpretation of delivering great information? And
I don't know. I mean, I almost don't want to guess.
yes, this is just for me.
Okay, right,
Different
okay,
for
fine.
you. This is
So what would I say is the most important? Authenticity.
that's it.
Speak from the heart.
That's it.
Really?
That's
Was
it.
that right?
Number one. Number one. It's dead simple the way
Yeah.
it is. If people are watching this and thinking, I don't know Greg and I don't know Matt, but I believe that if I went into that studio after this cuts and comes to an end, we'll be like this, right? So what I often say to people in business or in life if you are communicating to an audience. If you want to be authentic and you want to consider what your authenticity is, who is that person in your life? Who is that? It could be your mum, it could be your dad, it could be your stepdad, it could be your granny, it could be a particular person you are so close to when you meet them walking the dog. I've got no idea, but there is someone in your life that you speak to in a manner that is free, that is relaxed, that is uninterrupted, where you are you and you can just let yourself go. If that's the best version of how you communicate, you're doing it already. And you should look to be able to do that with everyone. It's going to be it's going to be a challenge because we've all got different relationships and all that stuff. But think about who that person is in your life. I've got a couple in my life where I think that's how I want to be talking all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes across me, then I want them to receive that. And I see a lot of time in business where I'm working with folk where we're having a chat like this at some sort of, like pre-drinks event or something, then they go up onto stage and they present and I'm like, two completely different people. And if you're not on the journey to trying to find who you are and how you present yourself, your audience sniff it immediately. They know it immediately and they're like that. I can't believe in you and your message because you're not even you.
Mm-hmm.
So authenticity and being yourself, and that in itself, Matt, is a big journey to go on.
Very.
I know.
I think it's never ending also. Like,
Yeah,
you never fully know who you are. I think you just learn over time who you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be equally as helpful. Like, see, if you don't know where you want to go in life, go as far away from where you don't want to be and you'll usually end up in a good place.
Say that again, that was quite cool.
See, if you don't know where you want to be in life, find out where you don't want to be. Because I feel like that can be a lot easier to figure out what do I not want. Move as far away from that as you possibly can, and you'll always end up in a good place.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
That's quite sage-like. That's quite guru-like. I feel as if you're going to start levitating.
Well, this has been fantastic, but I've got one more question.
Go on, man. Let's spend what we got. We got about 5 minutes. Let's really
I need to know.
the depths of this question. Come on.
Right. So obviously you've got such amazing life advice, and you can teach and
It's only
inspire.
because I'm
so many
53.
people, right?
That's what I've learned over a few years.
Here's a question I'm dying to know. Okay. Is there something that you've done in your life that you are really, really proud of, and meant a lot to you, that shaped you in a way which set you on the journey?
Yep. Yeah. It goes back to the start when we started speaking about Pat Bannon, who is the most incredible servant to his community in Coatbridge. And prior to meeting Pat, I was involved in a project that was similar to Bannon Fitness. And it was basically, we took an old railway station in our village and we got the young team to renovate it from quite a place that was quite dark to somewhere that was beautiful and very light. And it happened around about the time that I met and became friends with Pat. And what has happened as a result of that, the ripple effects of it that I've witnessed in my own life are absolutely incredible. I mean, like, mind-blowingly mental, off the charts emotionally. You look at it and you think, oh my goodness, and you put the pieces together. But at the heart of it, I think service. You've got to aspire to a successful life. You've got to be the best that you can be. You've got to enjoy the journey of where you're going, should that lead you to immense success. But if we are not sharing what we know and helping others along the line, then we are farting against thunder. So it's a good old saying my dad used to use.
Never heard that before.
So basically, enjoy where you're going, but within it, share your gold and give to your community.
And that's the heart of it, isn't it? Like, when
you do it, you, and that's Pat Bannon of Bannon Fitness in Coatbridge is the model of that message. You might get a bit of adversity along the way, but
I would say
Share.
it's guaranteed. Like when you go onto the path,
It is.
there's no avoiding it.
There's a lot of darkness that will want to pull you off and doesn't want you to succeed, and those are voices from others and voices within your own head. But a massive, massive way of getting on the path that you're on is as part of it. Share what you know freely. Share it as much as you can and support and serve other people. And when we do that as well, I only told you about what I done because you asked.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on and on about that for a whole different podcast.
Maybe we'll do that again.
Maybe we will. But
Get you back on and
I
we
would
can
encourage you when you do that, keep it quiet as well. Because Pat never tells anyone about what he does, but I'm here today to say, man, what a man.
Yeah.
He doesn't go out and say, I'm amazing.
And if we all did that for each other, then
Yeah.
the world would be...
We don't have to. Sometimes I love just going into farm foods for a few bargains, right? I'll tell you why.
Right.
Because see, when I go into farm foods, I'm not bombarded by their social ethos, about their virtue signalling. We live in a world where everyone tells you the great stuff that they're doing. The greats are not telling you. The greats are keeping it quiet.
Or they're actually going out and doing it and
They're
showing
doing it.
I think that's a better way to look at
Yeah.
it. It's the idea, like, you don't feel ashamed to hide it. It's a bit like
Aye.
what you were saying to me earlier about just own your identity.
Yeah.
Like, success or fame is like a byproduct. No, fame is a byproduct of success, no
Yeah.
matter how big or small. Like, if you dedicate yourself to doing life that you love for the right reasons, to make you happier, to make the people around you better, your life's going to be great.
Yeah, and
then-
even if you're not the wealthiest, you'll be wealthy in heart, man.
Yeah.
You'll be wealthy in relationship. You'll be wealthy in spirit, right? Because there'll be a lot of folk watching this, I imagine, who are maybe in business or at the start of their entertainment journey, where primarily, financial reward is a big part of it. And it's easy enough to say, don't make that the primary goal. It's going to come if you are enjoying it and successful. But there's a lot more to success than a fat wallet,
Yes.
isn't there?
And it's something that, like...
I'm just saying that because I'm skint. I'm skint, man!
But you do see that, like, when you're younger, it's very much a case of, like, the most successful people are the ones that had straight A's and have the best degrees and the best jobs and they work a 9 to 5. Like, it's just not that, though, is it? Like, I'm not trying to be anti-education. I think it has its place, right? But, like, there's something for everyone in this
Does
world.
it have its
and
place anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But I don't want to make people that have achieved all that feel
I know,
bad.
you're right. No, you're right.
You
You're
just mean
absolutely
nothing.
right.
Nothing.
So I've got a final question
Okay,
for you.
yeah.
Where are you going?
Where am I going
Aye.
in life?
Because you got the sax rocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the vibe. You play the saxophone at a level that is pretty much in Scotland, the UK, unsurpassed. You play it at you do. You play it at an incredible level. The podcast is going good. What else are you doing?
Do you know what? I think I'm chasing the things that are meaningful.
Right. Like what?
Well, this. See, having conversations that just come from that. Because, see, when you're in the entertainment industry or the fitness industry or anything, like, it's so easy to get lost on either the corporate ladder or and see, just sitting down with people and having the conversations. I think that just means so much.
Aye.
I don't know why I feel this passionate about it, but I think,
Good.
like, when it's so, like, life can feel really empty at times. And I think, like, when I was in uni, you were just playing at parties. It was very impersonal when I was in uni. It felt very kind of, like, regimented and routine. Like, it didn't really bond with a lot of the culture there as such. I think, like, when you realise that it's not the answer, like, no matter how well you play the saxophone, no matter how well you're in shape, no matter how much money you make, like, you're still going to feel that hole. And it's something that you can only feel by, like, doing what you love, surrounded by people that you love. I don't think you can put a price on that. So as long as I can do that for as long as I live, then I'll be happy, you know?
Oh, man. A good way to bring it to a close.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
You're
joining
very
me
welcome.
today.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching.
And if anyone's ever looking for a saxophonist, Matt.
Or a presenter to go along with it.